Uh, okay, I think we can start. That one, yeah. Hello, everyone. It's Chaos Hand 56 again. If you didn't get that, well, actually, I just realized in the last video I started to introduce myself, and then my mom called me, so I got cut off. So I never actually did. But obviously, if you're on my YouTube page, you probably got here because of my Discord or other social media, or you just happened upon it somehow, which would be kind of weird because honestly, I feel like I'm probably in like the lowest echelons of anything on YouTube because my views are so low, but it's whatever. It's all about starting out and then getting up to that point. But a lot of you probably remember last week's rant because I mean that's probably where I got the most people watching about TwitchCon and etiquette and stuff like that. Well, this week we're gonna do something different, mostly because I didn't actually think of anything to talk about. I mean, there's plenty of things I could just like rant on about incessantly, but sometimes it's just nice to talk about other things. So today, what I actually want to talk about, which is funny, because I have lots of shirts for it, but I'm not wearing any of them. I'm just wearing a Cartoon Network shirt because I really like the shirt. But yeah, I was gonna talk about The Legend of Zelda because, well, not everybody loves The Legend of Zelda. I was gonna say everybody loves that, but I mean at least everybody knows about it because it's one of those really long-standing series where even if you don't play it or you don't give a shit about it, you know that it exists and that it's, obviously one of Nintendo's like top 3 franchises or top 4 or something. I don't know. I should probably look that up. I don't want to be spewing nonsense. Nintendo top franchises. Okay. Oh yeah. It's okay, it's top 4. Okay. Because Super Mario is first, Pokemon is second, Wii series? I guess just all the different Wii. That shouldn't even count. If we didn't count that, it would be top 3. That and then Donkey Kong and then Super Smash and then Game and Watch. I mean, well, I guess those are really. I guess there were a lot of different ones of those back in the day. I guess they sold a lot. And then Kirby. Wow, this is actually interesting. Wait, let me open that up. Ba-ba-ba. Let's see, French. Jesus, this goes up to 25. Okay, well, let's just read these off really quick. This is still going to be about Zelda, but I found this kind of interesting. And now you guys get to... Fuck. Sorry. I keep forgetting I'm sitting down and I kicked the book. Anyway, so yeah. It's Super Mario, Pokemon, Wii series, Legend of Zelda, Donkey Kong, Smash Bros, Game & Watch, which, I actually like. I played the Game & Watch games because they had them on, like, different Game Boy Advance carts, and they're fun. I mean, they're very simple and kind of difficult at higher levels, but, I mean, it's something to play. Kirby, Brain Age, I mean, I guess that was a Nintendo thing. Animal Crossing is 10. Nintendogs. Okay, there's things I wouldn't even think about because I had Nintendogs, but I never really played it, which I guess is kind of cruel because there's just a dog on that cart completely unloved right now. But you know what? That's probably a lot of that. There's lots of real dogs that are without a home, which is also a really sad thing. This became very depressing really quick. But yeah, anyway, it's fine. Okay, Nintendogs. Then Yoshi, Wario. Ha! He's in the top 20. He actually beat out Metroid, which makes me sad, but Metroid has been... God, after Metroid Prime, they really didn't fucking do any favors for the series. And it keeps getting pushed back, I think because of the fact that sales were so bad for, like, Other M and then, like, Federation Force or whatever the fuck that stupid 3DS game was. Yeah, which... It sucks, because I love the Metroid series, and I like Prime, and I really hope they actually come out with this game that they're talking about soon that keeps... like swapping hands. I don't know. We'll see. But like I wouldn't even mind if it was in the same vein as the Prime series. I was okay with first person shooter. Or if they just made another like 2D one, that would be cool. But like Other M, the gameplay wasn't really bad. I think it was just the story was I don't know. Like this is supposed to be about Zelda, but like they made Samus like way too effeminate. Like, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but, the entire time we knew her, she was very quiet. She basically just did what she needed to do, so she wasn't exactly, like, a bubbly character or anything. She just kind of got shit done. More militaristic than anything else, I guess. And then in there, she just had, like, it was weird, and she kept talking about the baby, and it was, I get it. It was sad, but come on, guys. Like, it was just a little. It was like too off for her, I guess, for what we were used to. But like, that's what happens if you don't give a character like much personality and then just like shove it down our throats, and it's like really radically different from what we would think they would be like. Then yeah, we're not gonna like that very much. Anyway, after Metroid, it's Fire Emblem, then Splatoon. Wait, actually, Fire Emblem and Splatoon are like basically even, but I'm guessing after Three Houses, Fire Emblem probably sold more. Because Splatoon's only had 2 games. For it only having 2 games, though, that's pretty good for it to be in 15th or 16th place. And then Star Fox, Tomodachi. Oh, the apartment thing. I never played that. I heard it was good, though. It was weird, but good. Big Brain Academy. Wouldn't that just be like with Brain Age? I don't know. Luigi. It's just Luigi. Why isn't he super? Well, I guess just Super Mario and then Luigi. It's cool. I don't know. I thought he'd be high on their list, but at least he's in the top 25. I mean, that's still pretty good. F-Zero, Pikmin, Excite. I guess like Excite by Nintendo Land, and Style Savvy. I don't even know what. Isn't that like an offshoot thing? I don't know. Well, whatever. Wow. Apparently, Wii Sports was the top like best-selling game. This has turned into me looking at like Nintendo stats for shit. And then Super Mario Bros. For then, oh, just the NES, Game Boy Advance, various. Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, Yellow, Wii Fit. I mean, I guess those sold more because they were like bundled and they were cheap. So I guess people would buy more. So overall, I think they'd still spent more money on other franchises. But Tetris. Oh, yeah. Pokemon Gold, Silver. Yeah, because those are fucking amazing. Gen 2 was like best gen. Don't at me. Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario Bros. 2. Yeah, Super Mario Bros. 3 was great, and 2 was weird, because apparently it wasn't the real Super Mario Bros. 2. It was like, I don't know. People say it's like actually some other game, like Doki Doki Panic or something like that, with Mario characters, and that's why it's like an acid trip of a Mario game. Super Mario World, Pokemon Sapphire. So yeah, Pokemon, yeah, like all of them were in the top. Anyway, this is a lot of stuff. And I'm gonna close this because, oh shit, I almost started. I've been binging Game Grumps, and I forget whenever I open my browser, it likes to automatically play whatever I had playing last, which is that. So sometimes I'll be off stream and I'll open the browser and you just hear Dan and Aaron like yelling, and then I'm like, that's not my property, so I can't do that. Anyway, back to things. So we were talking about the Legend of Zelda series. Yes, I have played every Legend of Zelda game to date, except for the ones on the CDI. Right? Yeah. I haven't beaten all of them. They're like Triforce Heroes. I had it, but I didn't. It's not fun to play it alone. And it was just me. And I was just like, yeah, this is kind of, And like, as much as I loved Four Swords Adventures, like Four Swords Adventures were something that you could still play by yourself and get through just fine, and it didn't really feel like you needed other people. Like, Triforce Heroes really felt like you needed to have other people to coordinate with a lot better, and granted, it's probably a lot of fun that way, but the thing is, couch co-op isn't so easy to do anymore, because a lot of us are older. We still play games, but, you know, we have jobs, and we live further away from our friends and all that. Like, we can't always be just hanging out, playing shit, as much as we would like to. Like, I still go over to friends' houses sometimes to play, like, Smash Bros. And stuff like that. But at the same time, the 3DS is in decline because of the fact that the Switch is the new... It's Nintendo's new baby. And I can't blame them for it because it's been doing, like, fantastic. And there's so many games for it and all that. But it just kind of sucks to see, like, the 3DS, which honestly is, like, hands down the best handheld system. Like, you can't argue that, like, the PSP did great, but when Sony went to the PS Vita, they really fucked up with marketing and stuff like that. So the Game Boy, the Game Boy Advance, or the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advance SP, the DS Lite, all of those, like, they all did fantastic. Especially, like, I think my favorite thing about the DS and the DS Lite was the fact that they could still play Game Boy Advance games, but then after they went to the DSi and 3DS, they kind of got rid of that shit because they were just focusing on the new, which, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, it kind of sucks. And a lot of people that I know have been selling the 3DSs, and I'm like, but there's still really good games on there that you probably haven't played. Like, Granted, I haven't played my 3DS in like a few weeks now because I've been playing Switch and other stuff and messing with shit on the PC. But it's less that I don't. It's not that I don't like it. It's just that there's not enough time in the day to play everything. Like, I have a ridiculous backlog of games that I've been trying to play through on stream. It doesn't help that, much like me watching anime, I tend to go back and rewatch the stuff that I really like instead of watching new stuff. And then new stuff keeps coming out, and it's just like a big snowball of games and shit that I may never actually play in my lifetime because I keep saying I'm going to do it, but then I play something else. Or I'm like, I should watch like a new anime, and then I'm like, but Cowboy Bebop and Trigun and Oh My Goddess and all those are really good, so let's watch those. And then, yeah, it's fine. Anyway, this is what happens. This is how my mind works. It's just everywhere. We were talking about Legend of Zelda. Okay, so I would have to say, God, my favorite Legend of Zelda game is most likely Wind Waker. And when I say that, and I always have to like reiterate this because people always think when you say that one game is your favorite in a franchise that you like fucking hate the others or something. Like, there's no way you can like more than one. It's like, no, I've liked all of the Legend of Zelda games I played. I just like that one the most. Although right underneath that, I'd probably go with Majora's Mask because it's fantastic and it's very emotionally compelling and very dark. Like, but in a good way. Like, it makes sense because like this place there's kind of a lot of shit going on. And like a lot of people will be like, why don't you think Ocarina of Time's the best? And I'm like, look, Ocarina of Time was definitely a revolutionary game. And it wasn't a bad game. It's just, it's not my favorite, and I wouldn't say it's the best. You know, it kind of like, you know, I love Super Mario 64, but I wouldn't say it's the best Mario game. Granted, just like Ocarina of Time, like in most games on the N64, because of the fact that they broke into the 3D era, there was a lot of revolutionary stuff that they did in there that a lot of other companies were like, whoa, we should probably do shit like this. Although it pisses me off when people like shrug something to the side as like a Mario clone or as a Zelda clone, and it's like, look, there's gonna be games with the same kind of aspects of other games because that's just how it goes. Like, there's only so many things you can do. Like, you can't call every platformer a Mario clone. Like, there were platformers before Mario. It's just they happen to add different things to it that made it more compelling than other ones to some people. Like, I love Mario games. You know, that'll probably be another thing I talk about is Mario games. But today is Zelda, and one day I'll actually stay on topic. I was going to set a timer because I was like, maybe I should limit this to 30 minutes, but I don't know. Like, I feel like I could talk about it forever, but I'll probably find a good stopping point and be like, okay, guys, just leave your comments below or whatever. I mean, like, honestly, if you want to tell me what your favorite Zelda game is and why, go right ahead. Like, I love to see other people's opinions on things. Like the funny thing is, I one of my unpopular opinions probably is I absolutely love Skyward Sword. Granted, the motion controls for the sword part can be a little bit of a bitch because Wii motion control, while it was fairly good at tracking, it was not perfect, and you still need a decent amount of space. Even with like the perfect setup, there was plenty of times that there were errors with the sword stuff. Granted, for aiming like the bow and shit like that, it's really good. Like, I love motion control for that because it's way snappier than using a control stick. But I really liked Skyward Sword. Like, there was a lot in that game, and I liked the art style and everything like that. Like, honestly, like, I like Twilight Princess, but the art style was a little, I don't know. I think they, like, I can't say it was realistic. The people still looked not very real, but they made it a lot grittier and everything. And I think that Zelda and honestly other Nintendo titles work best if they just have like their cartoonish air about them, because that's what we're used to Nintendo. Granted, this is getting off topic again and talking about Mario because fucking I can't stop talking about Mario apparently. But in Odyssey, like, I loved the different basically kind of like the different art styles, I guess you could say, in each of the different worlds. And I loved New Dog City because it just looked so, like, it was kind of like bizarre in how realistic it was, and the people compared to everything else, but it just kind of worked. Like, they just have a weird way of making things work. And that's another thing I really like, is, like, Nintendo's usually really good with, like, ambient music. Like, the background music tends to fit very well, or just, they're very good at stuff like that. Like, that is one of the things I will say about Twilight Princess. I really liked the boss theme, especially since once you got to the point where you actually, like, doing the boss's mechanic, whether it's, like, yanking them out of like, sand, or fucking climbing up on that dragon's back, or whatever, I liked how the music got more intense when that happened, and I was like, that's really cool how they did that, you know? Instead of just hearing, like, and you know, I love the Zelda music and stuff like that, but it was kind of nice having that change in tempo to kind of show you, hey, you're doing good, instead of just, like, having the same song just playing. Granted, I mean, like I said, I still really like all the music and stuff. Like, probably one of my favorite tracks is from Wind Waker. It's one of the bosses. I always forget his name. Was it Mulgara? I don't think it was Mulgara. Fuck. No, it's super catchy. Like, a lot of the music in that game was good, though. Like, I keep saying a lot of it, but I mean, like, I'm not saying that, like, any of it's bad. It's just some of it I like more than others, you know, obviously. But honestly, I've liked a lot of the newer games. Like, Breath of the Wild, I adore. A lot of people don't share that opinion because they don't like the fact that it broke the mold. Because, you know, we were used to Zelda games, other than, well, I mean, Four Swords is kind of weird because it did its own thing. But pretty much every Zelda game had the same formula, where you have a set amount of dungeons. You go to those set dungeons in a specific order to pick up the items that you need to get through the dungeon, and thus get to the next dungeon. I mean, even in the first one, you kind of had to, you could technically get to some dungeons earlier, but you wouldn't be able to get through them because you might not have the raft, or you might not have, like, a lantern, or you just might not have what you need to get through there. So Breath of the Wild was pretty amazing in the fact that it was a game that you could play however you wanted. Granted, going to certain places earlier was really challenging because you have very little health, and, you know, they brought in the environmental dangers of being too cold or too hot or just bursting into flame, which is not good for you, I have found out. Well, I mean, I haven't learned, and I haven't experienced that IRL, but I would have to say it's probably not good at all. But yeah. Like, let's see. Like I said, I've played every Zelda game except for the CDI ones, and I've watched people play them. I watched the Game Grumps play them. I watched, I think my friend Mr. Scoot played it. I'd have to ask him. I know he has a CDI, and he was playing some stuff, but I can't remember if he actually played those yet. But yeah, they looked awful. And I mean, those were some of, like, the weird ones, like it's kind of like Mario and Missing and stuff, where it's the likeness and the characters, but it wasn't actually Nintendo making it. They were just kind of like, well, whatever, people can just. And I think after those ones, they were like, you know what, we're gonna not do that, because that was kind of weird. I mean, granted, you know, Mario is Missing is, like, a cool educational game, I guess, and all that, but yeah, it was just, like, so strange in the fact that it literally just used the likenesses of the characters, and then it was like a weird trivia game. But anyway, God, I'm talking about Mario again. This is what happens. But like, I liked the first one. Granted, I'd say that's probably one of the hardest ones, just because of the fact that there's not really a lot you can do in it. You know, it's pretty straightforward. You know, you stab things, or, you know, later on you get bombs and stuff, but you usually just want to use bombs on walls and all of that, obviously, to find things. But yeah, like, a lot of games are very hard in their simplicity. Like the very first, like, Mario game, and oh god, Kid Icarus. Oh, god, that game is hard as shit. I've gotten through it before. I think I got through without cheats once. But yeah. And then I actually really liked Zelda 2, Adventures of Link. A lot of people are like, this game is dumb, but I liked the change of pace of it, you know, because it went from just you going, like, in 4 directions, stabbing things, to actually being one of the big things I liked was the jumping. I'm sorry, I really like jumping in my video games. as much as I love like the Final Fantasy series and a bunch of other RPGs, you can't jump in those, and it kind of sucks. Unless you play like Final Fantasy 15, then you can do all kinds of shit. But everything before that, there was no jumping unless it was like a prompt, and you get stuck behind like a twig, and it's like I can't walk past this, and I'm like you can just walk over it. But no, like I thought that was pretty cool that it was more interactive, I guess, and you learned like the signature down thrust and up thrust and all that. So I thought that was really cool. And then, of course, the Link to the Past was like fucking revolutionary because they added like so many different items and just so much stuff. And it was just there was a lot going on in that game, collecting the pendants, getting the sword, then having to get other stuff, and then yeah, I mean it was awesome. And there were so many different items that got used throughout the rest of the series. Granted, you had your original ones like the boomerang and the bombs and stuff like that, because yeah, those are like the staples, but then they added like I don't know, well no, they did add the mallet again. Yeah, I guess they added it right back in an Ocarina of Time, because you got the Megaton Hammer. Granted, you didn't have quite as much stuff you could smash. Honestly, in Wind Waker, you had more things you could smash with the Skull Hammer. And that's the thing I like too, is when games are very good at introducing items and actually having you use those items in more than just one area. Like there are some games where there's a bunch of items where it's like, yeah, you only need to use it like once, and I'm just like, but I kind of want to be able to use it, other than just randomly like hammering enemies and stuff, which is still kind of fun. I mean, I really like the animation for hammering stuff in Wind Waker, just because everything's so cartoony. But yeah, like A Link to the Past was fantastic, and that brings me to the I know kind of a spiritual successor of that. I think was A Link Between Worlds. I know there's a timeline. I don't pay attention to it too much because there's a lot going on in there, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything or game theory person. Like I've looked at it a couple times and I'm like, that kind of makes sense, but also I don't know. But I did I thought A Link Between Worlds was pretty awesome. Like, and it was kind of like a faithful kind of reproduction of A Link to the Past. Well, granted, I know it was a different game and everything, but I think it used the same like overworld map and stuff, and it looked really nice. And then they added the wall mechanics, which is really cool. So that was good. Just like another thing that I played recently, I've gone through it 3 times already since it came out, was Link's Awakening, the remake, which is fucking fantastic. I would recommend it to anyone because honestly, like screen for screen, it's essentially the same game as when it came out years ago, just obviously with nicer graphics and a nice soundtrack. Like there were some songs that they could have done like a little differently to give them more punch, but overall I love fully orchestrated tracks, so I was totally down with it. Like that, and that's one of the things I like, is I think Skyward Sword was the first Zelda game to use a fully orchestrated track, and it shows, like, and it's awesome. And I love the fact that going forward they've been doing a lot more of that because it just sounds amazing. Like, as much as I love like hearing the old MIDI sounds and stuff like that, like fully orchestrated shit is amazing, especially if it's like a remix of something. Which, god damn it, you know what? I keep talking about Mario, but fucking shit, if you've played Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, you know what I'm talking about, because they faithfully reproduced a lot of music in those games, like older music, but like orchestrated and everything, and it sounds fucking fantastic, and it's great. And they've done the same thing with Zelda, like, and that's one of the things I like, is sometimes people are like, well, why don't they come up with new music? And they do. They come up with new songs in each of the games and stuff, but they also tend to always have, like, certain songs or sounds or things that they brought up through the games, and it just has that nice, like, nostalgia factor. And honestly, if it's something that works and it sounds good, then why the fuck would you change it, other than to maybe just, like I said, like, orchestrate it or make it add, like, maybe a couple extra things and all that. So, but yeah, and I loved Ocarina of Time when it came out because it was, like I said, it was revolutionary. It was crazy. It's like, whoa, it's in 3D. You can do backflips and shit, and holy crap, Ganon has he's got kind of a really pointy nose. So did Impa. But you know what? That was the times. Like, it's kind of funny when people look back and they're like, "Oh, it's so ugly," and I'm like, "Well, when we saw it, that was like the best fucking thing ever." You know, just because we didn't have 4K TVs and Blu-rays back then. No, we had VHS cassettes and fucking cartridges and all this. And you know what? We liked it. Well, I mean, some people might not have, but you know what? The rest of us, we were like, "Fuck you guys, we're gonna play this shit." But yeah, so oh man, and I like that, but like Majora's Mask like blew me out of the fucking water, especially when it came to or blew that out of the water, I guess. I don't know. Whatever the term is, because I was like, holy shit, like for one thing, like you got like extra jumps. Like I don't know when Link learned this, but he learned that like sweet ass fucking like front flip and shit if you jump multiple times off of things and the back flip and all that. And just it was kind of nice like being able to ride Epona as a child, and then fucking the masks like added so much more depth to the game, because it was like not only did you have this equipment screen full of all of these cool tools you could use, but you could also utilize the different skills of the different races, which was awesome. And honestly, I'm kind of sad that that hasn't been something that they've done again at all. I mean, about the only thing that they've done similar to that is where you get the flippers and like, you know, the 2D games so you can swim. But I mean, that's, you know, that's just for swimming. You don't really become a Zora, and you can't do electrical shields and boomerangs and shit. But yeah, it's like it was pretty amazing to me, and the like a lot of people were annoyed because of the whole like time limit thing, but honestly, like it just kind of gave more of a sense of urgency, which was nice, because it was like, look, if you don't do this, everybody's gonna fucking die, including you, and that's not good, because then you can't beat the game if you're dead, because you're dead. But yeah, I fucking loved that, and then, you know, obviously we waited a few years, GameCube came out, and then fucking Wind Waker came out, and everybody, like, lost their shit, because they were like, what the hell is this? Because, you know, you look at Wind Waker, you look at Ocarina of Time, where they went for more of a kind of like a realistic look. Then you go to Wind Waker, where they just like jump back into like cartoonish stuff, but it worked. And honestly, I think to date he is still the most expressive iteration of Link, I guess, other than the Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass, since they use the same model. And I guess the Minish Cap, which is also really good. Minish Cap on Game Boy Advance. Check that shit out if you don't know about it. It's fucking amazing. As well as the original Link's Awakening. I would suggest playing that, and definitely Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, because I don't know, I'd say all of the handheld games, barring Triforce Heroes, I didn't really care for that much, but all of the handheld games were fucking gold. Okay, shit. Phantom Hourglass was kind of annoying in some parts, because you have to keep revisiting the same tower and going up, and it got kind of tiresome. But like they're all good games. And I'd say like all the console ones, I enjoyed those immensely too. For each one for like different reasons, pretty much. Like granted, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask were both on the N64. There wasn't really a lot of difference in mechanics, other than like I think they tightened some things up in Majora's Mask. But yeah, like those are still very solid games for this day and age. If you have a 3DS still, you can buy them. I think they're both on the Nintendo Selects for like $20. You could probably even get them for less. And it's totally fucking worth it. Like those are fantastic games to play. But yeah, Wind Waker definitely. I loved that one. Like I even liked like the sea exploration and all that stuff. And you know, after a while you get a fast travel anyway, so it's not like you're on the ocean for like that fucking long. And it's just fun like discovering stuff and everything. Which I think is one of the things that I liked about Skyward Sword as well, because it had a similar feel, except obviously you were flying through the air instead of being in a boat. But yeah, and I mean I liked Skyward Sword for the story and everything, for the art style. I thought it fit very well. You know, motion controls were a little at times, but like the enemy design and the world design and a lot of stuff in that game was just fantastic. I mean, I like Twilight Princess, even though I could tell Twilight Princess was probably like the least magical one, which I think was the whole point. I mean, well, other than, you know, the Twilight shit, obviously that's magic. But, you know, generally in other games, you get more stuff. In that one, I don't think you even got I don't think you. I don't remember. I don't think you got fire arrows or anything. It was pretty. Like all of your tools were pretty like straightforward. Like not really magical. I mean, I guess you could call that giant weird gear thing magical, but it was more just a giant spinny top gear thing. I mean, it's just there was a lot more just straight up like butchering of things than anything else. But that might have also had something to do with the timeline. I don't know. There's probably explanations for things that I don't know. As much as I love the series, I'm not one to like delve too deeply into the background because I don't got time for that. I just enjoy the games. And what else is there? I already talked about Breath of the Wild being fantastic. I know I've been streaming that weekly to try to get all the shrines again because it's just a lot of fun to just kind of chill and run around, especially once you get to the point where you're not terrified. You know, when you can go ahead and kill Lionels and not really be that scared, then you're like, yeah, I guess this isn't so bad anymore. When you see your first one, though, it's fucking horrifying because they can kill you in one hit with literally anything they do, which isn't a fun thought. But yeah. God. I'm trying to figure out if I talked more about Zelda or if I talked more about Mario this time around. But definitely I would urge you guys, if you haven't played any of the older Zelda games, to check them out because they still hold up. Like, I don't know, like I love retro games and classic games and all that. So graphics don't bother me that much. If they don't bother you, then go, like the soundtracks, even the MIDI soundtracks are still really good. Like Nintendo has some pretty fucking great composers doing their shit. So throughout the years, they've been pretty good with music and everything, and also bringing it up to the times and all that. So it's pretty awesome. Like even if you don't have like a Game Boy or anything like that, like fuck, just emulate it. And I know a lot of people are probably like, oh no, you shouldn't do that. These games are like fucking 30 years old. Okay, maybe not that old. Like 20-something years old. They're really fucking old. They're not really making any money off of these unless you have like a 3DS in the 3DS shop to buy the stuff. Like just play the games. Like just find a way. Do it. You might as well. Like it's totally worth it. I'd say it's worth the experience. And like if you have the newer systems, like well, I call the Wii U the newer system, because I want to get the Wind Waker HD on there. I have the one for GameCube, but I kind of want to play the HD version when I do it on stream because I haven't played that version before. And I mean, I already thought that the original Wind Waker was super pretty, and I've seen the HD version, and I'm like, damn, that's fucking smooth as fuck. So yeah. And I think I heard tell that they might be doing a Skyward Sword HD version for the Switch. If they are, I really hope they do, and they just make it regular controls with the sword. Because if they did that, then I think it would do a lot better than the first time, just because I think a lot of people didn't like being forced to use the motion. Well, it's not even motion control. Well, I guess it's motion controls because these are gyro controls. Whatever. But yeah, like if they could make it so as an option to use motion controls when like docked, or just play it with the sticks, I think it would sell really well because it's a fantastic game. It's just a lot of people had a problem with the controls more than anything else. But yeah, like definitely, if you guys haven't played any of the Zelda series and you're interested in it, check it out. Like, it's worth it. And the worst that can happen, especially if you emulate it, is that you just don't like it. You've got nothing to lose except for like a little bit of your time. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for coming to this week's talk, rant, whatever. I don't know. Like I said, I'm all over the place when I talk about stuff. Obviously, I talked about Mario a lot because I was talking about Nintendo stuff, and he shows up a lot, and I really like Mario games. That might be my next rant, but if I do that, that might be like a 3-hour rant because I've played a lot of Mario games, and I really like those games. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, just if you want to see me live doing shit and also being weird, just check out my Twitch at ChaosHand56, the Twitch TV. You know, that shit. I don't even know if you're allowed to like promote this stuff in the videos. I swear, YouTube always changes like their shit on that. Like I don't see why there would be a problem saying it, but I guess so they don't want to like lose revenue. I don't know. I I just, I just want to talk to people. That's all. Fuck. What's wrong with that? Anyway, but yeah, just if you watch this video and if you have like a favorite Zelda game or something, just let me know below. I'd love to see it because I like all of them, and I'd like to see like why people might like one more than the other. Like, kind of like I like out of all of the handheld ones, I probably like Oracle of Seasons the best. And the sad thing is, it's mostly because it has the rock cape, which is like the best fucking thing ever because you can jump super duper far with it. I don't know. I really like jumping in games. I can't explain it. It's just it's that immersion, I guess. Because everybody can jump like 6 feet straight up in the air, right? That's totally normal. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out, guys, and I will see you next week. I'll figure out a topic. If anything, you could always, if you want to comment below with your favorite Zelda game, you could also suggest a topic for next week, and I can peruse them and see if maybe there's one that I actually know about or one that I could learn about. So, thank you so much for checking me out this week, and I will catch you guys later. Have a fantastic Monday. Oh God, where's my mouse? Oh, there it is. Okay, bye, guys.